What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online broadcast in the world for fathers and dads that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And just a little tidbit, this year I've had the opportunity and the blessing to reach out and be in contact directly or indirectly with over 75,000 fathers around the world. So, and one other thing I do, I am the board chair for the Global Food and Drink Initiative, which is a multimedia not-for-profit that is based in Oakland, California, that showcases Blacks in the diaspora. They're doing their thing in food, wine, and travel. As always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We are broadcasting live here on July 28th, and we are continuing our series in collaboration with the Dream Legacy Foundation. We're calling it Black Entrepreneurs Win With Us Wednesdays. And what we do during this series is we showcase some of Black Canada's most successful entrepreneurs, big and small, no shade, all shine. And we're inviting them to join us and share their recent entrepreneurial wins and success stories. And you as a viewer can listen, learn, and engage with our friends during each show. So each show, our listeners will have an opportunity to win a product or service created by each Black entrepreneur that's appearing during our series. So we're looking forward to having another great and epic conversation tonight. And I was joined by my co-host, Yardley Kavanaugh. Yardley, how are you?
I'm okay, Dr. Vibe. How are you?
I'm outstanding. I'm fired up. I'm ready to make this happen.
And we have to tell the viewers tonight that we're doing a special show. It will be a bilingual show, so French and English for tonight, because the entrepreneur that we are interviewing tonight is also bilingual, and we want to make sure that the more people we can reach is the better.
Great. So what have you been up to since we last chatted?
Well, doing auditions, working on my new projects that I cannot talk about right away. But the minute I'll be able to talk about it, you'll be the first one to know, Dr. Vibe.
Absolutely. And how is weather in Montreal today? I'm in Toronto. You're in Montreal.
The weather's better than the past few days when we had smog. I think it was the same for you guys in Toronto.
We didn't have to. We've had some smog, but we had a lot of rain yesterday, and it cleared out the smog. So the humidity is gone. Looks like the smog is gone. So we're doing okay.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. So I say hi to everybody who's watching us all over the world.
Wonderful. Well, let's get to it. Let's get it. We have another special guest. I like to call them friends. I don't like to call them guests, but friends. So let me ask, have you ever, or do you ever have the need to want to do a home renovation? Like I've been there. I know Yardley has thought about doing it, etc.
Yes.
And it ain't fun to do for most people. Like you don't know who to go to. You don't know who to trust most of the time. You don't know if you're getting a good quote or bad quote. Well, tonight we have a young gentleman who is going to help you with this, and he's having a lot of success, not only in Canada, but in the United States. His name is Bertrand Nembo, and he is the CEO of a great company called Billdr, and that's Billdr. Let me spell it again, Billdr. So when you go search him out on the internet, that's what you look under. So I'm really excited to have him here tonight. Yardley, you looking forward to this one?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it because I'm sure I'm going to learn a few things. Our viewers are going to learn a few things. And it's always a headache when you have to go through renovations. So I think Bertrand will be the solution. Bertrand Mbot will be the solution to a lot of our problems.
Well, we've named him so much. We've given him such props. So it's time to bring him on. Bertrand, come on down. The price is right.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Outstanding.
We're doing great. Thank you. Outstanding.
Well, look, thanks for taking the time out of your positive, productive schedule to share with us for a few moments tonight. And we were blessed to have a conversation with you the other day, and like you blew us away.
Thanks for having me.
So, audience, whether you're watching live on the replay, you're going to get some serious value tonight. And as always, I like ladies to ask question first. So Yardley, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Vibe. As usual, you're a gentleman. I'm going to start in French because I think it's important to introduce who Bertrand Mbot is. I know you're going to introduce him in English. So, alors, Bertrand Mbot, que nous recevons ce soir, est un cofondateur et PDG de chez Billdr, la plateforme digitale et plutôt numérique de l'industrie de la rénovation, la plateforme dont vous aurez besoin pour vos prochaines rénovations. Avant Billdr, Bertrand a travaillé dans l'équipe des opérations chez Uber et Branch et il a voyagé à travers le monde pendant une période de 5 ans. Il est un diplômé de la Polytechnique de Montréal avec un baccalauréat en génie mécanique et une maîtrise en génie industriel. Qui est Bertrand Mbot? Quel est votre parcours et bienvenue à l'émission.
Okay, well, I'm going to just say more succinctly because my co-host did such an incredible job. Prior to Billdr, he was overseeing Branch, a fintech startup, global expansion strategy, analyzing the fintech global landscape in Latin America, all over the world. He told us the other day he was in 30 countries.
38 or 39 countries.
Yeah. 30.
30? Oh, 30. Well, we exaggerate.
Was it in 19 months?
No, over the span of like 4 or 5 years, yeah.
Oh, well, even 4 or 5 years. All right. But you know what? Before that, he was the sub-Saharan marketplace operation team at Uber. Have you ever heard of Uber before? So before that, he was a strategy consultant for KPMG Secor, working on 3 sectors: agro-industry, insurance, and manufacturing. And he holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering and a master's degree in industrial engineering from the Polytechnique Montreal. So you got the real deal tonight, folks. He don't play.
He's a little genius, as I've introduced him, un petit génie.
Yeah, he's the real deal. So, I'll start off my first question. Give us a little bit about your background, because you've been to Africa, you've been to all these countries, but what was life like before you became this global killer?
Yeah, I'm still on my way to become that global killer, but I was born and grew up in France. I grew up like in one of the Paris suburbs. My parents are from Cameroon, so I'm first generation. They actually immigrated to France to study, and then they finally decided to stay there. So I grew up there. Was brought up and educated by a marvelous and fantastic single mom up until the age of 9, and then finally my mom remarried and got to actually grow up like most of my teenage years, and until like the end of high school with an amazing dad and new sisters and stepsisters and brothers. So I'm the youngest of 6, and I always say that I'm the smartest of the 6. I like to tease my brothers and sisters about that. So that's kind of like my background. So very like simple middle class kind of life around Paris suburbs. So yeah, in a loving and African family. So love life, I would say, like over the weekend and just receiving like my mom would love to just cook for a bunch of their friends and get together. So kind of like vibrant life. And yeah, so that's a bit about me. And then since I'm 13, I always wanted to move to Canada. I did like a school trip when I was 13 to a couple of cities in Canada over a span of 3 weeks. Fell in love with Montreal, and since I'm 13, I was always saying to my parents, I'll move to Montreal after high school and get there. So yeah, that's what I did. I just ended high school and packed my bags and here was like 2007, landing in Montreal, and then after that, you already covered like kind of like my background and my past to where I am today.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Can we do it in French so that our French listeners? Absolutely. Sure. Alors Bertrand, comme on sait déjà à peu près le bagage que vous avez par rapport au génie mécanique et tout ça, mais avant de devenir le PDG et le cofondateur de Billdr, quel est le parcours que vous avez effectué pour arriver là où vous êtes maintenant?
D'accord. Donc j'ai grandi en France, juste à côté de Paris, en Essonne. Mes parents en fait viennent du Cameroun. Donc, je suis première génération d'immigrants. Mes parents sont venus en fait pour étudier en France, puis sont restés après ça. J'ai principalement été, j'ai été éduqué en fait simplement par par une fantastique maman. Par parents séparés, mais une fantastique maman avec et puis jusqu'à l'âge de 9 ans, puis s'est remarié, et puis là j'ai vraiment connu la personne que j'appelle papa. Je suis le plus jeune de 6. Donc ça, je dis toujours que je suis le plus smart des 6. Vraiment simple vie, classe moyenne, africaine, immigrante, donc beaucoup de vie à la maison, les week-ends. Maman qui aime beaucoup cuisiner pour les amis, inviter du monde à la maison. Donc voilà. Puis ensuite de ça, je disais toujours depuis que j'ai 13 ans que je voulais vraiment immigrer au Canada, à Montréal. J'avais eu en fait un voyage avec l'école à 13 ans, pendant 3 semaines. On a passé du temps dans plusieurs villes au Québec, en Ontario. Et Montréal, c'était la ville qui m'avait marqué pendant le voyage. Donc depuis que j'ai 13 ans, je disais à mes parents, une fois que j'ai fini le lycée, je vais venir en France, je vais venir directement à Montréal. Et voilà, je suis super heureux de mon choix. Et puis voilà, donc je suis venu étudier à l'école polytechnique de Montréal. Puis le reste, je pense que vous l'avez déjà pas mal couvert dans l'introduction.
Mais pourquoi Montréal? Je suis toujours étonnée, mais pas étonnée parce que c'est une très belle ville. I was asking him why he was so enthused about Montreal coming to Canada, because you had a background, you know, a Cameroonese background, a background from Paris. Alors pourquoi Montréal?
Montréal, en fait, je me rappellerai toujours de cette première image quand j'avais 13 ans. On est venu en février, donc il y avait une tempête de neige.
Oula.
Et donc normalement, je devrais pas être si attiré que ça. Mais je me rappelle, on était sur Sainte-Catherine. Puis je me rappellerai toujours de cette image. Et je voyais les grandes tours. J'étais super impressionné par les grandes tours au centre-ville. Bon, elles sont pas si grandes que ça, mais contrairement au reste de l'Amérique du Nord, mais quand même. Et j'ai eu cette image et ce flash, et puis cette petite voix en moi qui me disait, ouais, c'est là. C'est là que tu dois être. Et j'ai pas lâché depuis 13 ans. Donc
Can you repeat that for our English viewers, please?
Sure. Yeah, so when I was 13, I said, like, you know, I did a school trip in Canada, and I always remember, like, we arrived in February, so it was like, there was a big snowstorm. It was like probably like minus 20 or 30, something like that. And we just did like a visit downtown, and I would always remember, just like, I saw like skyscrapers and coming from Paris suburbs, you don't see a lot of skyscrapers. It's not necessarily something that you see as a little kid, like in the suburbs. So it was very different. It was like North America, and I don't know, I just had that voice that says that's here. You know, I've seen, like, you know, we went to a bunch of cities like Toronto, Ottawa, Quebec, but like, I don't know, something just told me, like, hey, that's here. And yeah, and then since I'm 13, I just stayed with that voice and that intuition, and yeah, just decided it was there that I wanted to be.
Nice. My next conversation piece for you is share some of what it is like to working for Uber, and then also working for Branch. Like, those are two prominent companies. What sort of experiences did you have working with them?
Yeah, so I was pretty lucky. I got a job at Uber in 2015 all the way to 2018. So I stayed 3 years, a year and a half in the Montreal office, and a year and a half with the Sub-Saharan Africa team. So the job at Uber, like, you know, in Canada was, you know, we were back in 2015, a very small team when I joined. I think the Montrealers were probably 8 or 9 full-time employees there. And, you know, it was pretty much like an environment, like, full of, like, you know, driven, super smart, like, very, like, young people. It was kind of like pretty much like a family environment where we had to work like very long hours, but we just stick together. It was kind of like us against the world. At the time, Uber wasn't regulated in Quebec. The government wanted just to shut us down. So it was kind of like, that mentality of like us against the world. And yeah, the business was growing super fast. So my job was everything related to operations, getting drivers on board, analytics, like looking at like the health of the city. Are we meeting like the number of requests that we have, and are we actually super reliable across different neighborhoods, across Montreal? Working on the quality as well, the quality of the experience, the service, like are riders having like, providing great ratings to drivers, and if not, why, what are the reasons, and what can we do to improve actually the experience? So it comes like a lot of like work going around that. We also we're launching Quebec, and so looking at all those problems. That was like my job in Montreal. In Sub-Saharan Africa, at one point, like after a year, I got a call from HR, and they were looking for someone who had African roots, but was not in Africa, surprisingly. And they hit me up, HR in Amsterdam hit me up and says, hey, we're looking for someone to help us launch markets in Africa. And I was like, it's weird. Like, why are they calling me? I'm in Canada. And they actually hit up like another friend of mine who at the time was in San Francisco and was also, I think, he had Kenyan roots. And we were like probably like less than 5 like with African roots outside of like Africa itself at Uber at the time. It was like 2016. And they just told me like, hey, do you want to come over and launch like a country for us in Africa? And I was like, I'm probably like 25, 26 at the time. I don't remember. I was 25, yeah, probably. And I was like, sign me up. So 3 weeks later, I was in Johannesburg in the office, and just waiting for my assignment. And they told me like, hey, by the way, in 2 days you're taking a flight and you're going to Uganda, and you're going to launch Uganda. And I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't even know where Uganda was on a map at the time. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know much. And here I was in a country I didn't know anyone. I didn't know where to stay. I didn't know where to go. I didn't even know where to start, and I had 4 weeks to launch Uber there. So that was one of the best experience I had, where I was given just a ton of responsibilities, and just like going out there with such a big challenge, and you don't even know like where to start, if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna know, you just land somewhere, you don't even know where to start. And that was pretty amazing. Like in 4 weeks, like pulled it out, and it went so well. Like just hiring a team, hiring drivers, like sorting out the regulatory environment, landing deals like to help drivers get smartphones, because at the time people were not getting smartphones over there. Most didn't even know how to use smartphones. So we just to train them, and looking at the joy of like giving smartphones to drivers, they were just so amazed. Working with like local like wealthy people to actually buy cars to help drivers actually get jobs. So it's kind of like a very fulfilling experience to have done there. And after that, just seeing the joy of like riders using Uber when it's live in Uganda and Kampala, that was pretty amazing. So did that for I stayed for 3-4 months. And then after that, the team in Africa was like, oh, Bert, you can't come back to Canada. You got to stay with us. We got so much more to do. And they asked me to be the head of marketplace, so basically the head of analytics for Sub-Saharan Africa. So kind of overseeing a team of data scientists over like a lot of like responsibilities like risk, quality, pricing, product launch. So that was just like, we're just spending like my days like analyzing markets and just traveling across West, East, South Africa as well, like Middle East and Europe as well, where the headquarters were. So that was kind of like a pretty fulfilling time, and did that for 3 years at Uber. And then after that, went on to I kind of like burned out. I was working like 80, 90 hours a week for 3 years, and decided to switch and join Branch. It's a fintech startup as well, but very different. The team was smaller. We were like probably like 60, something like that, out of San Francisco. And I was as well, like I joined the expansion team. We were 2 on the expansion team. So our role was to analyze markets across the globe and help the leadership team decide as to where they should expand next and what kind of product as well they should launch. So I was literally paid to travel and analyze like the world and provide like recommendations to the team as to where we should go next and what we should be doing next. So yeah, that was also pretty exciting time as well.
Well, to go into French, because that was a long speech and it was beautiful. I mean, this must have been it seemed that it was an amazing experience for you and for your team. Alors, pour passer en français, qu'est-ce que vous en avez tiré de ces expériences en travaillant chez Uber, en travaillant chez Branch et puis voyageant à travers le monde? Qu'est-ce que ça a apporté à Bertrand Mbot pour pouvoir créer maintenant sa propre marque qui est Billdr?
Okay. Je pense que la première des choses que je dis, c'est si j'avais à résumer ces années à voyager au travers le monde, mais surtout à travailler pour quand même des compagnies qui sont successful avec beaucoup de responsabilités à mener des équipes, c'est que j'ai appris ça a bâti en fait ma confiance. Je pense que pour un jeune garçon qui a grandi en banlieue parisienne, milieu modeste, t'as pas nécessairement d'exemple de modèle devant toi et qui te disent il y a ce genre d'opportunité qui existe. Et aussi, t'es capable de le faire et t'es capable d'aspirer en fait à des carrières qui sont si stimulantes. Donc j'ai eu ces opportunités, j'étais vraiment, moi c'est vraiment une bénédiction. Et donc me dire que tu sais quoi, non, je suis capable, j'ai l'opportunité, je suis capable de faire des choses qui sortent de l'ordinaire. Et donc en Ouganda, j'ai premièrement, c'était vraiment démarrer en fait une business où il y avait tout le support d'Uber derrière, mais j'étais tout seul on the ground. Donc tout ce qu'il fallait que je fasse, c'est qu'il fallait que je me lève tous les jours et que je me dise, je suis capable, il faut que j'aille cogner des portes, il faut que j'aille cogner des portes au niveau des banques, au niveau des compagnies de télécommunications pour faire des deals. Donc, c'était quelque chose vraiment où j'ai vraiment pu, en fait, me dire, non, tu sais quoi, je suis capable de démarrer une entreprise de rien et d'engager des employés, de faire grossir une entreprise avec plusieurs millions de dollars. Donc, ça, c'était vraiment la partie Uganda. Il y avait aussi beaucoup d'heures aussi à Uber, donc ça te force en fait à créer une éthique de travail et aussi et donc ça, donc vraiment ça, c'est ce que j'ai appris vraiment de Uber, la partie leadership, la partie entrepreneuriale, la partie développer vraiment une éthique de travail forte et aussi des bonnes pratiques pour gérer une compagnie tech. À Branch, ce que j'ai beaucoup aimé, c'était vraiment l'aspect encore plus international. Donc, travailler, j'ai passé beaucoup de temps en Amérique latine, au Mexique, au Brésil. J'ai passé beaucoup de temps en Asie du Sud-Est. Voir en fait différentes cultures, voir vraiment le monde en fait sur différentes facettes et voir aussi vraiment ce qui se fait beaucoup. Parler à énormément d'entrepreneurs dans les différentes régions. Donc ça aussi, ça a vraiment nourri en fait une certaine curiosité que j'avais pour moi sur le monde. Jamais j'aurais pensé en fait en grandissant en banlieue parisienne qu'un jour, j'aurais été donné l'opportunité de voyager, d'analyser le monde, de voir autant de cultures différentes et de côtoyer en fait autant de personnes qui étaient vraiment inspirantes. Donc, ça m'a vraiment permis juste d'ouvrir les yeux et de me dire, tu sais quoi, tu es capable à chaque fois qu'on te met dans un nouvel environnement, une nouvelle langue espagnole, soit portugais, et de te débrouiller. Et t'es capable de commencer quelque chose de rien, tu seras toujours capable en fait de te relever, peu importe ce qui va être balancé en fait dans ta face. Et ça pour moi, je pense, c'était vraiment important. Et donc après en fait ces années-là, j'ai vraiment développé en fait une certaine confiance en me disant, tu sais quoi, je pense que je suis prêt à démarrer une compagnie et je suis prêt en fait au lieu de passer 80-90 heures pour d'autres, pourquoi est-ce que je le ferais pas pour moi en fait? Et donc voilà, donc je pense que ça a vraiment nourri une certaine confiance en moi et j'avais vraiment hâte après ces années-là en fait de me dire, tu sais, c'est quoi, c'est le temps de commencer à propre compagnie. Donc vraiment, c'est un bagage entier ça a été un chemin entier en fait qui a boosté principalement ma confiance et m'a permis de développer des skills pour aujourd'hui lancer ma compagnie.
Ben, merci beaucoup parce qu'on voit comment vous êtes capable de vous relever et de tout faire pour pouvoir y arriver. On trouve ça magnifique parce que ça donne à nos jeunes qui nous regardent et d'autres personnes, peu importe l'âge, l'envie de devenir aussi entrepreneur et de relever ces défis. So I was just telling our nice friend here, Bertrand, that, you know, he was able to, what did he take out of all this from Uber and Branch that motivated him to build his own company, Billdr? You know, so that's what he was explaining to us, that he didn't believe that as a child of African parents, African descent, coming from Paris, and that he was going to be able to do all these things, that even if he dreamt this, he couldn't believe that he would achieve this, and he achieved it by himself. So we salute you, Bertrand and Bert.
Thanks for the kind words.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to find out about Billdr. How did it come about? The who, what, where, and why? And how can it help us? So you're watching Win with Wednesdays, and we'll catch you after the break.
I shifted over to real estate, and then the rest was history. For me, as a 21-year-old, I'm like, okay, where could I get into the market? When we started Yorkdale, I was 29 years old, and it was a big moment in my life. We were changing the mindset of who could be on the jersey. Then we did the partnership with Ryerson to launch the digital media lab. And then the tech sector is growing. Investors are trying to see what is the best place to invest in, what is the best product to invest in. These are all indicators that will continue to drive the need for housing.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Vibe here along with Yardley Kavanaugh, and we're on Win with Wednesdays. And we're back with Bertrand. And Bertrand, we need to know, how did Billdr come about? What's the story?
Oh, wow. So Billdr, where to start? So, like, we are four co-founders, and they're my best friends. So how did you come about the idea itself? So the idea itself, like, when I was a second year in engineering, I just got out of my first internship at Bombardier. My dream when I was a kid was to be a stress engineer at NASA. So stress engineer is basically someone who does maths to model like the design of the fuselage of a plane, the body of a plane, and I wanted to do that for rockets or planes. And I got the internship, the dream internship I wanted at Bombardier, and didn't like it. And yeah, it was kind of like a bit shattering for me, because I was like, oh wow, like I always dreamed of doing this, and just got the opportunity to do so and didn't like it. So I was like, all right, I need to start a business. It was January 2011. At the time I heard that, a lot of people were making money flipping houses. It was 2 years after the financial crisis of 2008, 2009. And so I was like, all right, maybe I could do it too. But I didn't have any money. So I went back to Bombardier to convince 2 engineers there that we should just team up and flip houses. I convinced a good friend of mine as well who was a pharmacist, and I also convinced my mentor who was an architect. So we were 5, we pulled together. I went back to France, I got student loans because I needed some form of money to contribute. So instead of I told my parents it was actually to study, but it was not. It was to flip houses. And so yeah, I went back, got this money and with the friends, and for 2 years we flip houses. And after 2 years it was a disaster. I kind of lost half of the money, so I was not so proud at the time, and it was kind of pretty scary actually. And yeah, so that was 2013. I was graduating. So here I was telling myself, well, what kind of failed experience was that? I lost 2 years of my life, no weekends, going renovating, no evenings. And then, yeah, I decided to go on a job. And after that, there was all those experience with Branch and Uber and KPMG that we talked about already. And then after all that, like 2018, I was leaving Uber just before I joining Branch, and I was kind of fed up with already like, working with people. I told myself like, Branch seems cool, so it's a good opportunity to pass by. But I was still like looking for ideas to start my own company. And then, then Billdr came up. Like basically, I spent like a summer with one of my co-founders, Yaya, CEO, and I was on his kitchen, and we were just jamming about like ideas, what kind of like companies we could do all together. So we started to like list all the problems we had, and that renovation thing was on top of the list. And I was just asking questions to him like about like construction, because he was a project manager at WSP, and we kind of like saw that there was like a big problem where home renovation was not solved. There was no platform online where people could actually go get the help of someone who knows about it and get assisted from start to finish. There were platforms where you could get referred to contractors, but no one was really helping you. So I was like, well, it's not going to help anyone if you just sign up on a platform and then they just push you to contractors that you don't even know who they are. They're not going to even take time for you to guide you throughout the process. And then for us, we were like, oh, wow, like it's 2018. It was the time of like where Uber, Airbnb were booming, those marketplaces. And we were like, wow, but there is nothing yet that solved home renovation the way we thought it should be. And so, and then we sat down. We actually, I went on and I called our third co-founder, Francois, who was actually at the time living in South Korea. And I just, we knew each other since we were 12 back in France. And I called him, I just tell him, hey, you know what, like we started this company with Yaya. Are you in? And he didn't even hesitate. He was like, yeah, I'm in. And then we were looking for a fourth co-founder, someone who could actually code. And we hit up like another friend, Hugo, was in Singapore. And so same thing, called Hugo. Hey, Hugo, we started this company. We're 3 already. Like, are you in? And same thing, didn't hesitate. He was like, yep, I'm in. So here we were, like just 4 co-founders, like one in Montreal. Myself, I was in between Mexico, Brazil at the time, and Indonesia. And then Francois in Seoul, South Korea, and Hugo in Singapore. And we started to build that MVP of like what would be like the what we envisioned to be the right experience and right digital platform to serve homeowners. And we did that for like a year. We just working like just part-time for a year just to build an MVP, and then finally decided to go full-time in 2020. So the full thesis is simple, like building a platform where homeowners can be assisted from start to finish by a project manager for the home renovation. So everything related to like guiding a homeowner through the design phase, like with architects, engineers, getting the permit done, going to the bidding phase with contractors, and as well getting a still system project manager to be there and advise them as well during the construction phase. On the other end, like the entrepreneurial provision for general contractors is to actually get to a platform where they can actually get access to pre-qualified leads with like a very clear scope of work. And we're also building like an entire software to automate the back office. So yeah, that's what we're doing at Billdr.
Impressive.
Very impressive. Since we're doing a bilingual show, je vais vous demander comment Billdr a commencé et comment ça fonctionne comme plateforme.
Donc comment ça a commencé, dans ce que j'ai expliqué juste tantôt, c'était donc on est 4 cofondateurs à la base, donc sont vraiment mes meilleurs amis. Et puis l'idée a commencé en fait, on revient dans mes années d'étudiant, c'était en 2011. J'étais en 2e année de génie mécanique, et puis je venais juste de terminer en fait en janvier 2011, je venais juste de terminer mon stage obligatoire qu'on avait pendant le programme. J'étais à Bombardier, j'étais dans le département de Stress Engineering, donc résistance des matériaux. Et donc en fait principalement on faisait des mathématiques pour modéliser le fuselage d'un avion, et voilà, donc mon rêve c'était de faire ça mais à la NASA, et là j'avais vraiment mon stage mais en aéronautique, et j'ai fini en fait, je me suis rendu compte que j'aimais pas ça, et là pour moi c'était vraiment un choc, parce que je suis entré dans un programme d'ingénierie pour faire ça. Et donc voilà, donc après ça, je me suis dit, il faut que je fasse quelque chose de ma vie. Et là, je me suis dit, pourquoi je commencerais pas une entreprise en parallèle de mes cours? Je vais finir mes cours d'ingénierie, mais je vais peut-être me trouver une autre passion ailleurs. Je me suis dit, je vais commencer une entreprise. C'était 2 ans après la crise financière de 2008-2009. Puis j'entendais beaucoup de gens qui faisaient de l'argent en flippant des maisons. Et je me suis dit, bah tiens, je vais le faire aussi. J'ai envie de flipper des maisons. Et donc là, je me dis, bah, j'ai pas d'argent. Donc je vais aller essayer de trouver des gens avec qui je peux m'associer pour le faire. Et donc là, j'en parle à des ingénieurs avec qui j'étais à Bombardier, qui venaient de graduer, qui étaient à temps plein à Bombardier. Bah, il y en a 2 qui ont accepté. Je suis parti voir un autre ami qui était pharmacien, qui est toujours pharmacien, puis il a accepté. Et je suis parti demander à mon mentor qui est architecte, et puis il a aussi accepté. Donc donc au final on était 5, on s'est mis. J'avais pas d'argent, alors je suis parti en France. J'ai pris des prêts étudiants. Donc j'ai dit à mes parents que c'était pour étudier, mais en fait non. C'était vraiment pour flipper des maisons. Puis on a fait ça pendant 2 ans. Puis bah, j'ai perdu la moitié de mon argent, donc c'était assez traumatisant à l'époque. Mais c'était vraiment une expérience qui t'attire quelque chose de rien. Encore une fois, c'est de là où j'ai commencé à prendre mes peut-être premières semences d'entrepreneurial. Et puis c'est là où j'ai appris vraiment toutes les cordes en fait au niveau de la rénovation. Donc après 2013, quand ça fait en 2 ans, donc je graduais. Puis donc là j'étais vraiment endetté comme pas possible. Puis après ça, il y a eu toutes les expériences dont on a parlé plus tôt.
Mais l'idée vient pour la rénovation, quand est-ce qu'elle commence? Quand est-ce que cette idée germe et puis dit, bon, ok, donc, là, on crée Billdr?
L'idée, donc justement après ça, en fait, après Uber, j'avais vraiment envie de démarrer ma compagnie. Et là, j'ai commencé en fait à faire une liste de problèmes que j'ai eu dans ma jeune carrière. Donc vraiment partout, à l'école, toutes les activités entrepreneuriales que j'ai pu faire. Et puis ce problème je me suis dit, hey, ouais, j'avais flippé des maisons en 2011-2013, c'était un désastre. Et là, je me suis dit, je sortais d'Uber qui était une marketplace. En même temps, je travaillais à Branch qui était une fintech. Et je me suis dit, tiens, comment est-ce que je peux utiliser toutes mes expériences, tout ça? Et là, je me suis dit, hey, est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un en 2018-2019 qui a créé en fait une marketplace, une plateforme qui résout en fait l'expérience en rénovation? Puis là, je commence à faire mes recherches et je me rends compte que non, en fait, il n'y en a pas, qui devait le résoudre d'une manière qui soit efficace. Il y avait des plateformes qui sont simplement des lead gen, donc c'est-à-dire que vous allez là-dessus et puis vous référez à des entrepreneurs, mais ça vous n'avez pas nécessairement quelqu'un qui vous aide. Et là, je me suis dit, il y a quelque chose à faire. Puis donc j'ai passé un été avec Aya, mon cofondateur, CEO. Puis lui, il était chargé de projet à WSP, donc on a beaucoup échangé sur la construction. Et on s'est rendu compte qu'effectivement, en fait, il n'y a pas de service en fait dans le domaine résidentiel. Toutes les bonnes pratiques du commercial, elles ne sont pas en résidentiel. Et on s'est dit, il y a quelque chose à faire, il y a une plateforme à créer. Puis voilà. Puis là, après ça, on a appelé notre 3e cofondateur, François, qui est en Corée, qui est designer. Et il n'a pas hésité, il a dit ouais qu'il était in. Puis on a appelé après ça notre 4e cofondateur, Hugo, qui était à Singapour, on était dans un développeur. Puis la même chose, lui, il n'a pas hésité non plus pour in. Et puis voilà, puis on s'est dit, écoute, on a passé l'année 2019 à créer un petit MVP de ce que c'est créer la plateforme, du concept, etc. Et puis on a décidé de se lancer à temps plein en début 2020.
C'est merveilleux. Et comment fonctionne la plateforme? I'm asking him, Dr. Vibe, how does the platform work? How can, like, I'm a client, I'm coming to you. How does it work?
Yeah. J'ai un peu expliqué already explained it in English, so I'll probably do it in French. Donc, comment ça fonctionne? Un particulier, en fait, peut venir sur la plateforme, faire une requête. Donc, le projet moyen qu'on a sur la plateforme, c'est $100,000. On fait pas de petits projets en dessous de $10,000. Donc, c'est le ticket moyen qu'on a en ce moment. Donc, vient et arrive et dit, je veux faire des rénovations. Donc, ils sont accompagnés par un chargé de projet du début jusqu'à la fin. Donc, tout ce qui est la phase de design, effectuer des plans avec un architecte, un ingénieur, tout ce qui est la phase d'application pour un permis de construire, toute la partie appel d'offres avec des entrepreneurs pour recevoir donc plusieurs soumissions, et la partie également gestion de projet. Donc, durant la phase de construction, avoir quelqu'un vraiment dans son équipe en fait pour aider avec la gestion du projet. Ça, c'est d'un point de vue particulier. Donc, vraiment un accompagnement tout au long de chaque étape. Et de l'autre côté, en fait, pour les entrepreneurs généraux, ce qu'on a créé, c'est également donc une application avec laquelle, en fait, ils ont accès à des projets qualifiés avec vraiment un scope superbement détaillé de tous les projets. C'est des clients qui sont tous sérieux, qui ont soumis un dépôt. Donc, c'est vraiment des clients qui sont vraiment prêts à partir. Et également, on est en train de créer vraiment toute une suite d'outils technologiques pour vraiment automatiser leur back-office. Donc, voilà, donc c'est vraiment la plateforme Billdr.
Dr. Vibe?
Yeah, wonderful. Well, time is running really fast.
Yes, it is.
In our conversation here. So I'm going to jump right to something that we ask all our friends to talk about called community benefits. And the definition of community benefits is it's a framework to maximize dollars already being spent with very little additional investment. It helps foster a more equitable approach to economic development where the whole community may prosper. Some types of benefits are jobs, training, apprenticeships for targeted groups, and opportunities for local businesses and social enterprises. But additional benefits can range from affordable housing to energy reduction projects and public space improvements. So your company, Billdr, community benefits, is it of importance that you provide employment, help to the Black Canadian community?
Ouais, non, définitivement, il y aura quelques activités qui vont être annoncées dans ce sens, donc je vais pas spoil. I'm not going to spoil the surprise to it. There's a couple of activities that we're doing in this sense, but yeah, it's very important. We like in terms of like on so many levels. Like first of all, like you don't see a lot of like Black people in the construction industry. So that's one thing. And what we've seen, like construction being so kind of polarized. Like if you look at like it's something very personal. So we're kind of seeing many customers love to like work with contractors, and you're going to see like Asian customers liking to work with like Asian contractors as well, and et cetera, and I think this is something. So getting involved as well, like in the Black community, also something that we haven't heard, just being Black founders. But we have a couple of initiatives in this regards. Like it's nothing announced yet, so I'm not going to necessarily spoil the surprise. But just stay tuned. Like in a couple of weeks, there's a couple of like good things.
So that means we have to have you back, right?
Yeah. That'd be a pleasure. That'd be a pleasure.
All right.
We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. That's what it is. I have a question. Do you work with realtors? Vous travaillez avec les courtiers immobiliers aussi?
En fait, on n'a pas encore de deal avec des courtiers. Je pense que ça va être vraiment la prochaine partie. On est en train de travailler en fait sur notre plan. De retravailler sur notre plan en fait pour la seconde partie de l'année. Et je pense qu'on pourra accélérer vraiment la croissance. Les agents immobiliers en fait vont être clés également pour la distribution. Donc c'est quelque chose qu'on va commencer à s'atteler à vraiment créer ça. So we really have to create value for like real estate agents. So like what kind of tools we can actually build for them, provide value for them and their customer, and we also had to prove, I think, for the last like year and a half that we were providing an amazing service, a differentiated one, and actually how we can actually provide value. So now that we have all that, the case studies, everything, so it's kind of like, the natural next step for us to reach out to visit agents and start working with them.
Usually, all our guests, tous nos invités, our friends, they always have an offer. Ils ont toujours une offre à faire. À notre audience, nos auditeurs. Donc, on voulait savoir, Dr. Vibe, I'm sure you wanted to know if our friend now, Bertrand and Bert, has an offer for us.
Yeah, we do. So actually, we're super pleased to offer like a promo code. So there's a promo code like DREAM FDN. That we're going to offer to your audience. So I think it's going to be the first 5 homeowners that just go on our website. We're going to waive on entire project management fees. So it's savings up to $3,500 depending on the size of your project. So just if you just put that on a platform when you actually sign up, you just post the code. So DREAM FDN, and it's for any projects again above $10,000, and the offer is valid until the end of the year, so until December 31st. So be more than happy to offer that to you, Jen.
As we start winding down, people may not know, but your company's in 3 cities.
True. Yeah, the
right?
company.
People may think you're just in Montreal. Can you tell the cities that your company is in?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for reminding me that. So we are in Montreal. We started in Montreal. We launched Toronto about 3 months ago, and we just soft launched Chicago. So it's kind of like it wasn't announced yet in the news yet or anything like that, but we're already live in Chicago, and it's been 2 weeks.
Excellent.
So it's
Yardley,
a scoop. It's a scoop for us, the Chicago thing.
Just don't tell me. Yeah.
Alors, pour ceux qui nous écoutent avant de quitter, ils sont à Montréal, donc Billdr, ils sont à Toronto, et il ne faut pas le dire fort, ils sont aussi à Chicago. Go ahead, Dr. Vibe.
No problem. So before we let you leave, we always like to ask too, what are you most excited about in the future with Billdr?
I'm super excited about bringing value to the industry and contributing to bringing the industry to the digital era. So not enough has been done in terms of technology in the construction industry. It's kind of the next $1 trillion industry that hasn't been digitalized fully, and there's so much to be done and so much value to bring to every stakeholders, not only homeowners, general contractors, architects, engineers. And the residential space, it's, a home, it's so personal. And we're telling ourselves with the team, if we can bring that magical experience when people want to, redesign their homes to their image, and we can bring that and, build an amazing experience, it's something that people will probably do once, twice in their lives entirely. They will remember us and be, it's just magical. So I'm super excited about that. Like just improving this industry and bring like my little, all little added value to that. So I'll be just super happy, if we can achieve that at scale.
Un petit résumé en français, l'avenir de Billdr.
Donc l'avenir de Billdr pour nous, on est super excités en fait à apporter en fait notre valeur ajoutée en fait sur comment améliorer vraiment une expérience qui est vraiment personnelle. Alors une rénovation, c'est quelque chose que les gens vont faire 1 à 2 fois dans leur vie. Donc c'est vraiment quelque chose qui est très personnel. C'est quelque chose que les gens en fait se souviendront en fait toute leur vie. Et nous vraiment avec l'équipe, on se dit si on peut vraiment apporter une différence et une expérience vraiment améliorée d'une expérience qui était vraiment jusqu'à présent vraiment stressante, vraiment painful. Pour nous, vraiment, c'est quelque chose vraiment que on serait vraiment super heureux. On veut vraiment améliorer vraiment les choses, pas seulement pour les propriétaires, mais aussi pour les entrepreneurs généraux, les architectes, les ingénieurs. Il y a tellement peu qui a été fait en construction pour amener vraiment toute l'industrie dans l'ère digitale. C'est une industrie qui a plus de $1 trillion et vraiment pas beaucoup a été fait encore d'un point de vue technologique. Donc, on est super excités à l'idée de pouvoir apporter notre valeur ajoutée à la société aussi.
Merci infiniment, Bertrand Membot, d'avoir pris le temps de faire partie de Win-Win Wednesdays avec nous. Donc, on gagne les mercredis avec Dr. Vibe, Yardley Cavana. Je passe le micro avec Dr. Vibe et c'est sûr qu'on va vous revoir pour une partie numéro 2 parce qu'on sait qu'il y aura beaucoup de projets de votre côté. Dr. Vibe,
Merci,
I send
Yardley.
the mic to you. Un plaisir.
Exactly.
Well, Bertrand, thank you so much for sharing your journey. And we're speaking nothing the best for you and your team and helping people live their dream.
Thanks so much, Dr. Vibe. And merci beaucoup, Yardley, de m'avoir eu ce soir. Thanks a lot.
So, and I'll just get our producer to just put up the website again, please. And Bertrand has left us, but no problem. Just put up the website, and we'll bring on Eldon Holder Jr. to come on in.
Yes.
And we'll wind it down.
Hey, what's going on, folks?
Hello.
Hello, Eldon.
So, people, if you don't know who this is, he's going to tell you.
I will tell you. I am currently in the behind-the-scenes bunker of the Win With Us Wednesdays show. I'm Eldon Jr., Dream Legacy Foundation, and I've been listening in intently. You know, most folks don't quite get a chance to be part of these conversations just because these individuals that we bring on the show are just so busy. You know, they're literally shaping our country as it is today. Alors, moi, mon nom est Eldon. Je travaille avec la Fondation Dream Legacy. Puis l'idée, c'est cette épisode était créé pour être une discussion bilingue. So it was created to be a bilingual conversation. So if you were tuning in from the beginning, you probably were wondering what's going on. There's no subtitles. I don't see what's happening. But the reality is this is the nature of our world. We have builders and entrepreneurs across the country that are building Canada in both official languages. So Bert, we really appreciate you tuning in and being part of this conversation. But this thing today, I don't know if people really realize how exciting this is. We are in the middle of a Black Renaissance right now. And part of this Black Renaissance is we are creating and shifting the narrative using technology. What I loved about what Bert said in this little after show, what we do is comment on the comments. He said that he had an opportunity, he saw an opportunity to make a change, to bring technology to solve a real problem in the industry. So I want to encourage all of the young people that are out there today that think that they can't think of problems and solutions and they got to wait for someone to give them permission. Well, Bert didn't wait for anybody. He said, I'm a Canadian. I went to school here. I see an opportunity and I'm going to go after it and make a change. He called his friends. He called les boys, les chums. Il disait, regarde, j'ai une idée. On va faire quelque chose. It might not work, but we're going to go for it. So I wanted to take this time to get into our Baobab principles, because this is really at the core of the show this week, is the understanding that we are capable. We are good enough as Black people. We are people of African descent. So these Baobab principles, which you will see on a regular basis over the course of the next couple episodes as part of this series, is really what's guiding us through this whole entire process. So the Baobab principles, we follow them. The B is to be honest. And I'm going to take the time to really dive deep on the B today. See, be honest means not just be honest with your colleagues and your members of your community, but be honest with yourself. Oftentimes we overpromise and we underdeliver. And we want to really change that narrative. It's okay to underpromise and overdeliver. Be honest with your capacity. Be honest with your journey and your story. It'll help you out as you grow on your process. See, what I liked about what Bert said with respect to the B in the Be Honest Baobab principle is that he said that when he came here as a student, he had a vision and he wanted to build his business, but he knew that he couldn't do it on his own. He needed people and he needed capital, dinero, l'argent. And what did he use? He used his student loan to be able to grow his business. See, people might think, you know what, that's not really honest, Eldon. You know, we talk about using the money for what it's for. Well, think about this. He was being honest to what he truly wanted to do. He was being honest with his time and his effort. And he didn't abandon his studies. So I don't want any students who are listening to say, oh, I'm just going to take my OSAP and I'm going to just do what I want to do with it. No, he completed his degree and he went back twice over. So I encourage folks to think about this. Je veux demander tout le monde d'engager dans ce processus, puis demandez vous-même, est-ce que vous êtes honnête avec le projet que vous êtes en train de diriger maintenant? Are you being honest with yourself with the time you're dedicating to your current project? Because when no one is watching, that's what really counts. What are you doing when no one is looking? So I leave us with this and a final fun fact, because Bert asked me to introduce this promo. So for those who are watching the after show, he wasn't able to get into all the details, but he wanted to offer this special backstage pass. So for those who are tuning in, Bert wants to offer you a 30-minute virtual coffee session with the CEO of Billdr. And this is a series that he will offer for the first people to tag 5 individuals on Instagram. So go to our Instagram page, Dream Legacy FDN, and first 5 people to tag 5 of their friends will be entered into a draw, and they'll get a chance to win a 30-minute conversation with Bert about anything. It could be about business, could be about tech, investment, renovation, skilled trades, you name it. And this virtual coffee will be taking place between September and October 2021. So the Instagram, yes, is at Dream Legacy FDN. Dream Legacy FDN. Pour tout le monde en français, ça veut dire que si tu écoutes cette émission maintenant, l'after show, si tu vas sur Instagram puis tu vas taguer 5 personnes pour rejoindre dans cette communauté, dans cette discussion, you can have a chance to win a 30-minute conversation coffee with a COVID coffee. You know, we can't do it in person, so we didn't get sponsorship from Tim Hortons. So maybe Tim Hortons will hear this and they'll be like, hey, we're going to sponsor these guys. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Donc, il faut le dire en français. Une conversation, vous pouvez gagner une conversation avec Bertrand Nembot, le PDG de la compagnie Billdr, pendant 30 minutes. Mais il faut absolument taguer 5 de vos amis. Alors, étiquetez 5 de vos amis et à ce moment-là, le concours aura lieu entre septembre et octobre et après, vous pourrez, si vous êtes choisi, avoir cette conversation avec notre ami Bertrand Nembot.
Fantastic. Merci, excellent, Yardley. This is why we keep you on board on the team. Dr. Vibe, Yardley, and the team back behind the scenes.
Can I just leave with a quick word?
Yes, you got a quick word. Always. This is the after show.
Okay, so as always, I like to say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger and better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace, and a quick word to my fellow Blacks around the world. You always hear the term Black is beautiful. Well, being Black and beautiful is good, but to be Black and great is better. Thanks to BIA Media. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good.
See you guys later.
Keep the
See
faith.
you next week.
See you next week.
8 o'clock.